So I've still not quite managed to find myself a new tripod, so this is kind of going to be the angle for now. But this is my pick a card reading for Are You Ready for Love? We're going to be doing 6 different questions, or 6 different cards representing 6 different questions, and I've put all the timings in the description below. You can also find my Facebook, Twitter and Instagram on there, and also be a patron for only £5 a month, which unlocks so much more content, and also the free reading Fridays and the pick a card readings that I do weekly on my Facebook. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments. Okay, so if you made it to this part of the video, we are on pile 1 and we're having a look at your readiness for love. So just turn all the cards over. Okay, so we have pulled the 4 of Wands, the 9 of Swords, the Knight of Cups, the Sun reversed, the Queen of Swords reversed, and the Moon reversed. Okay, now the first 3 cards we're going to be going through are sort of delving into the love that you want, what love taught you, and what is holding you back at the moment. So the love you want, the 4 of Wands reverse is implying to me that the love that you want wants to be a really strong and stable connection. You really want to have this heart on the table, showing your cards, really being very open, very connected, very controlled almost. There's a lot of passionate energy coming from this card, there's a lot of action coming from this card, and there's a lot of expression through action coming from this card. So this is sort of delving into the kind of love that you want and the kind of love that you are looking for. We then have what love has taught you, and we have got the 9 of Swords. And this card implies to me that love in the past has taught you to really strengthen yourself. The relationships that you've been through and that you've been from have really taught you how to overcome things, how to push your way through whatever is sort of weighing you down, and to very much have the strength within yourself to overcome any sort of negative sort of actions towards you and negative energies coming your way. This is very much sort of implied in a mental sort of way as well, in a very strengthening through the mind. You've battled with quite a few sort of mental setbacks, sort of negative thoughts perhaps, and like doubts perhaps from past relationships, and love has taught you how to overcome these and how to overshadow them and how to pull your way through them. Now, what is holding you back? It's interesting that we've got the Knight of Cups, because it feels like you are holding yourself back, but not through any sort of means of negativity. It feels as though you're holding yourself back because you are just sort of perhaps enjoying being single. You are just sort of enjoying having this time to yourself and to your emotions, and you are just giving yourself some time to reflect and some time to pause and to sort of look at where you've come from and look at where you have yet to go. But you're not so focused on the future at the moment. You're very much sort of happy to be calm in the present and to take on when you feel ready for it. You're not in any kind of hurry. You're not really, you are desiring of a relationship, but you're not exactly dying to be in one. You're very comfortable to sort of be with yourself at the moment, and you're quite happy to take your own time with it and to reevaluate and assess what's going on for you at the moment. Okay, so these 3 cards are sort of looking at your general readiness for love. And it's starting to feel like, relating back to the Knight of Cups, it's starting to feel like perhaps you aren't quite ready, but it's not through any sort of fault of your own. We have this card, the Sun reverse, representing is your heart ready, and it feels like your heart is disconnected from previous relationships. You're not quite so attached to those past relationships, but you're also not looking for a new connection at the moment. You're not quite looking for a reconnection at the moment, much like we said with the Knight of Cups. You are very much sort of taking your time with it and getting to know yourself first. You're getting to know what is going on for you before you get ready to make a new commitment. We then have, is your mind ready? And we have got the Queen of Swords. Now, obviously, the suit of swords is very much resembling of the mind and the thoughts. And we have got the Queen. And it feels as though your mind is not quite as ready as it could be. You are still kind of, as we said with the Knight of Cups, being with yourself. You're very much focused on yourself at the moment, and you're very much trying to keep your heart close to your chest at the moment. You're not quite ready to unleash it at the moment, which very much relates back to the Sun card that we just went through. You're very much focused on what's going on for you and staying strong for you and not staying strong for anyone else, because you just aren't that interested at the moment. You're not quite so ready to turn to someone. You still have, as you can see in the card, your back turned to people, but not in a negative way, just in a way of protection almost. We then have, is your spirit ready? And we have got the Moon reversed. Now, this very much sort of implies the same as the Sun reverse, and there is not this immense connection. You don't feel obliged to create a spiritual connection with someone. You kind of just want to be a bit more down to earth at the moment. You kind of just want to be in reality, in yourself at the moment. You very much are focused on what is going on for you. And it's almost as though your spirit is kind of telling you that it's tired of giving. It's tired of giving to someone else. It's tired of not receiving, and it is currently waiting to receive. It is waiting for someone to come to you and to show you that they are worthy of making this spiritual connection and being part of your spiritual journey and worthy of doing so. So overall, if we look at this reading as a whole, particularly I feel like the Knight of Cups stands out quite a lot in this reading, with this idea that you are single by your own choice, you are happy being single, and you don't have any sort of drive in you at the moment to be in a relationship. You are just sort of happy with taking your journey as it comes and not pushing forward without fully knowing yourself and fully being in touch with yourself first. So that was pile number 1. Please let me know in the comments what you thought. Please give this a like and a subscribe, and also my link to my Patreon is in the description below. So if you'd like to be part of my Patreon, then please sign up there. All my other social media links are also in the description below. Okay, so we are now on pile 2 of the reading, and we have got 6 cards ahead of us. The top 3 are sort of looking at your previous relationships and your relationships, what is holding you back from a new relationship. And the lower 3 cards are looking at your general readiness in your heart, mind, and spirit. So we'll just look at the cards here. Turn them over. Okay, so we have pulled the 8 of Swords, the 6 of Pentacles, the 7 of Wands, the 5 of Swords, the Page of Cups, and Judgment. Now we'll look at the 8 of Swords, as this is what the kind of love that you are actually looking for. The love that you're looking for currently is one that you do not want to feel censored by, one that you feel you're not being held back in your thoughts and you're not being held back in your speech, and you want to be able to speak and think freely and clearly. You don't want to be held back in your dreams and ambitions. You want this relationship to really add to your drive and to really push your motives and to push your ambitions to achievement. And you don't want it to be something that you're afraid to speak up in, and you don't want it to be afraid to think about, and you don't want it to be holding you back in any kind of way. You just want it to be building you up to this point of transformation. You want it to be giving you this feeling of stability before you can actually unlock your full potential. Okay, so then we move on to what love has taught you, and we have got these 6 of Pentacles. Now this card implies to me that your previous relationships and the love that you've been through has taught you how to ground yourself and how to find grounding in your environment and your surround and what is around you. It feels like it's taught you how to seize opportunities and how to give the right time and patience towards projects and towards goals and towards material things that you want to manifest. It's taught you how to give it time and patience in order to grow. It's also taught you how to find comfort in waiting for opportunities to come your way and in waiting for what you want to manifest at the moment. We then move on to what holds you back, and we have got the 7 of Wands. Now it feels to me that what is currently holding you back is that you kind of want this real sort of fiery, very much action into plan into action, collaboration kind of relationship, and I feel like it's holding you back because you're looking for something that you could almost be finding in yourself, and you're looking for something in a partner that you could already be getting from yourself, and it feels like you want this real, true, tight connection with this person, but it's not happening for you right away. And I feel like that is something that is holding you back because you've got quite a lot of options around you and you've got quite a lot of things going on for you at the moment that you need to be focusing on. So I feel like that is something that is holding you back at the moment. So in terms of your general readiness, we have got the 5 of Swords, the Page of Cups and Judgment. And it feels like it is sort of saying that you are ready in its own way. We've got the 5 of Swords representing if your heart is ready, and the 5 of Swords upright kind of implies to me that you are sort of learning to let go of the past. You are learning to look ahead. You are learning to look to the future. You're sort of dealing in your own way with your loss and dealing in your own way with sort of this betrayal that you've been through. I feel like perhaps a previous relationship has not been so kind to you and has not given you quite the right treatment that you deserve in a relationship. But I feel like you are actually in the process of letting that go, and you are actually in the process of being able to move on to other things. We then have the Page of Cups for is your mind ready? And I feel like there is this level of being ready with this card. I feel like while the Page of Cups is very much an emotional card, I feel like you are sort of curious about approaching this new relationship. Like, what could go on in this new relationship? What could this new relationship bring me? You are going into it in a more of a curiosity kind of way, not in so much a romantic way to begin with, but you are just sort of treading your toes in the water at the moment, wanting to take things slow, just wanting to take things at your own pace, but are just willing and just learning how to open up and how to learn to trust again, learn to share again, learn to express yourself in a relationship and to another soul again. We then have Judgment, as is your spirit ready? And I feel like this is definitely saying that your spirit is ready. I feel like you are, as we said with the past few cards, you are going through this level of transformation and you are going through this reawakening, and you are sort of coming to grips with yourself a lot more. You are coming to grips with who you are as a person a lot more. And I feel like this card is very much screaming this sort of readiness to unleash yourself onto someone else, to unleash your spirit onto someone else, provided that they are willing to accept. But in terms of your readiness, I feel like this card is definitely saying that you are. So in terms of the overall spread, I feel like you are ready for love at the moment, but with the first 3 cards, it feels like you have a lot of projects going on for yourself at the moment. I feel like maybe this is sort of to do with some kind of perhaps a business endeavor, or you've got this really pressing project that you need to be focused on at the moment, and I feel like you are looking for a partner who is going to help you with this project, but at the same time, you need to be willing to work on it by yourself first. And I feel like that is the thing, as we said, which is holding you back at the moment. So that was my reading for pile 2. Please let me know in the comments what you thought. Please let me know if it resonated with you. All my links are in the description below, and I've also got a link for my Patreon. So if you'd like to become a patron, please follow the links in the description. Okay, so we are now on pile 3, and we have got 6 cards ahead of us. We've got the top 3 representing your previous relationships and what you're ready to move on to, and we've got the bottom 3 representing your general readiness. Ooh. Okay, so we have got the Page of Pentacles reversed, the Lovers, the Four of Swords, the Nine of Pentacles reversed, the Knight of Pentacles reversed, and the Two of Pentacles. We've got a lot of pentacles and a lot of earth energy coming through this reading. Okay, so we'll go through what your previous relationships have taught you and what is holding you back. So we have got the Page of Pentacles representing the love that you want. And this kind of implies to me that the love that you kind of are looking for at the moment is something quite mischievous, something quite immature, sort of something that's sort of going to be fresh and exciting every day, and is sort of going to be really full of surprises. You kind of want it to be... I've forgotten the word that I'm looking for exactly, but you want it to be very spontaneous. This is the word I'm looking for. You want it to be very spontaneous. You want it to be very exciting and adventurous. You want it to be very new every day, and you don't want to get wrapped up in this sort of mundane, everyday, sort of 9 to 5 kind of aspect of a relationship. You want to be able to explore with this person, and you want to be able to really sort of unlock your inner child and unleash your inner child with this person. What love has taught you in the past? We have got the Lovers. Now, this is a very positive card. I feel that maybe you've come from quite a few positive relationships in the past, but they've been very, perhaps, not quite as exciting or thrilling as you were hoping. So I feel like the Lovers has taught you that your past relationships have taught you that love is all about commitment, love is all about loyalty, love is all about community and openness and sharing and respecting boundaries. And I feel like that is something that you've been through in the past, and I feel like that is something that it has taught you for the future. And there's a very clear essence of community coming from this card and coming from your relationships. What is holding you back? Now, I feel like what is holding you back is your own sort of hesitation. I feel like you are sort of hoping to move on to this new and exciting sort of relationship, but your mind is sort of very much perhaps so focused on your previous relationships and how they have gone that you're unsure about if you've moved on to the right thing, or if you've done the right thing by moving on. I feel like there is a lot of hesitation coming from this card, and there's a lot of, while you feel strong in your own thoughts and while you feel like what you've done is good for you, it feels like you're unsure about whether you've made the right decision to look for what you're currently looking for. So as I was saying, the last 3 cards are going to be about your general readiness. We've got your heart, mind and spirit, and we have got the 9 of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles and the 2 of Pentacles. Now, the 9 of Pentacles reversed, as is your heart ready. This card is kind of almost screaming no to me. I feel as though there is something that happened in your past that you haven't quite dealt with the consequences of yet. I feel like something that is holding your heart back is something that you haven't quite acknowledged. There's something in your past that is holding you back from being able to look to the future, and you're sort of very stuck in it. You haven't quite actually had a think about what it is that happened and how it affected you, and there's definitely this implication of consequences. And it feels like this is the same sort of feeling for your mind as well. Your mind is very much focused on this consequence of actions. And it feels like maybe, as I was saying with the Four of Swords, that you've left a relationship or you've left a partnership that you weren't quite sure if it was the right idea for you at the time. And I feel like you're still kind of reeling from the consequences of that. You're still kind of in your own head about so much focus on this relationship that might have been really good for you but wasn't quite what you were looking for at the time, or isn't quite what you were looking for right now. So then, yeah, as we move on to the Is Your Mind Ready, we've got the Knight of Pentacles, which is very much focused on this consequence, which is very much focused on the past. And there is this possibility for progression, but you're not quite seizing it at the moment because you are so focused with looking off elsewhere and not really focused on your direction forward. There is this real, with these two cards in particular, this real implication of looking into your past and not being able to really see ahead of you. Now, fortunately, your spirit has moved on. Your spirit is sort of making its way to finding balance. Your spirit is sort of making its way to coming out of the woods, as it were, and finding its way through the dark. And perhaps you're not quite so in tune with your spiritual side at the moment. Perhaps you're not quite so in tune with your spirit at the moment because you're so focused on your heart and your mind. But your spirit is looking for your new ambitions. Your spirit is looking forward in quite a driven way. And your spirit is, in its own way, balanced. And perhaps this might be to do with your previous relationship. Perhaps you didn't have quite so much of a spiritual connection with your previous relationship, so it's not taken a toll on your spiritual side just as much as it has done with your heart and mind. But that is something to think about. So overall, it does feel like you are, in your own way, ready for a relationship, but it's just sort of the case of getting your heart and mind to look ahead as opposed to staying stuck in the past. So that was my reading for pile, I think that was pile 3. We are powering through these today, right? So all my links are in the description below if you'd like to get in touch via Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. And I've also got my link to my Patreon if you'd like more content on that. Please sign up. Okay, so we are now on pile 4. So this is everyone. Hello everyone from pile 4. We've got 3 cards representing your previous relationships and what is holding you back from embracing a new relationship. And we've got 3 cards representing your general readiness through mind, heart and spirit. So for this reading, oh my goodness, we've got a lot of fiery energy in this one. We have got the Queen of Wands. We have got the King of Wands. We have got the Knight of Swords. We have got the Empress reversed. We have got the Six of Wands. And we have got the Ace of Swords. Okay. So let's start with the Queen of Wands. So this card is sort of representing what kind of love that you are looking for. And this very much implies to me that the kind of love that you are looking for is a kind of love that embraces your independence. I feel like you are naturally quite a very strong, a very confident person, a very independent person, and someone who is very much sort of able to hold their own. You don't really need this constant reassurance from someone else to know yourself. You're very much in touch with yourself and you're very much aware of your own strength and aware of the own power that you possess. So I feel like what you're looking for in a relationship is not someone who is intimidated by this. You want someone who is only going to fuel this further, who is only going to allow you to be this strong, confident person and will admire your independence as opposed to try and conflict it or combat it. What love has taught you? We have got the King of Wands. Now this is sort of representing your previous relationships and what you've taken from those. And I feel like, as we were saying with the Queen of Wands, I feel like your previous relationships have built up this strength within you. These previous relationships you've been with have taught you how to find this confidence in yourself, and have taught you how to use this confidence and how to use this inner strength. And I feel like you've kind of adopted it from people that you've been with, because maybe they've not been quite so accepting of it, so you've sort of had to push your way through it, and you sort of had to take this time to realize to yourself, like, I don't deserve this, I'm going to be my own person. And you've learned this from your previous relationships, or it could be that your previous relationships gave you this confidence and you've taken it away with you. There is so much fire in this. If you're a fire sign, let me know if you picked this one, because that would be really interesting. And then finally we've got what is holding you back, and we have got the Knight of Swords. Now this kind of implies to me that you are kind of perhaps your own worst enemy at the moment, in the sense that what is holding you back is you are so sort of keen to like show your assertiveness, and you are so keen to sort of get your confidence out there, that you're sort of charging ahead without really thinking of where you're going. You're sort of very much focused on the destination and not the journey. You're sort of not seeing the obstacles ahead of you. You're not really looking at your footing. You're not really looking at where you're going. You're just sort of charging ahead a little too quickly. And perhaps this is sort of that you need to find someone who can actually keep up with you, and perhaps with this newfound confidence that you've got in yourself, you have so much drive and so much faith in your own confidence that you are sort of maybe pushing yourself forward a little quicker than you would normally be ready with. Maybe this is you leaving a relationship and you're just sort of pushing forward a little too quickly. Sorry, I just need to get some water. So then we've got the 3 cards representing your general readiness, and we've got your heart ready, your mind ready, and your spirit ready. And we've got the Empress reversed, the 6 of Wands, and the Ace of Swords. Okay, so the Empress reversed implies to me that perhaps your heart isn't quite ready at the moment. Perhaps, although there is such a strong sort of sense of identity in this reading, there is such a strong confidence coming through this reading. I feel like you are very in touch with yourself and very aware of your own confidence. It just doesn't feel that your heart is sort of ready to move on, which would explain why we got the Knight of Swords for what is holding you back, because you're trying to push yourself forward quicker than you actually have time to embrace what's going on. And I feel like the Empress reverse is sort of just telling you that perhaps by moving on a bit too quickly, you're sort of forgetting your sense of independence. You're sort of forgetting just what you can be by yourself. And so for that reason, I don't feel as though your heart is expressing that you are ready to move on. I don't feel like your heart is expressing this sort of desire for a relationship. I feel like there's more of this desire to be single for a little while longer. Is your mind ready? We have got the 6 of Wands. Now this card implies to me that perhaps your mind is sort of ready, but not in the way that you are currently going about it. I feel like your mind is ready provided that the relationship is coming to you, that you are willing to wait for the relationship to present itself to you. There's sort of more strength in not chasing after it, much like we went through with the Knight of Swords. There's sort of more strength in allowing it to present itself to you and allowing it to sort of show you the way, as opposed to you forcing yourself forward to try and achieve it. And I feel like a lot more success and there's a lot more joy to be had by waiting and by maybe working on your inner Empress, because the Queen of Wands is one thing, but the Empress is a completely different way of seeing yourself. So then we have, is your spirit ready? And we have got the Ace of Swords. Now, I feel like your spirit is sort of saying that it's ready. I feel like your spirit is sort of feeling quite open at the moment, but also I feel like being a singular, I feel like it is sort of just allowing itself its new awakening at the moment. It's just allowing itself to get back to grips with being its own thing. It's getting back to grips with sort of having your sense of identity first. So I feel like looking at this reading overall and looking at this reading together, I feel as like while you are a confident person, while you are aware of your own power and your own sense of individuality, I feel like you're pushing yourself to be in a relationship, but you're not pushing yourself to unlock your inner Empress. I feel like you're pushing yourself to be with someone because you feel like that's where your power comes from, but your power comes from your own independence and your power comes from your own sense of identity. So I feel as though that is something that the cards are urging you to work on before you get into a relationship or before you establish a new relationship with someone. So that was my pile number 4. I hope you liked your reading. Let me know in the comments if you're a fire sign in particular, because we had so much fire energy for that reading. And all my links are in the description below as well. So if you'd like your own reading, you can get me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And you can also sign up to my Patreon via the link in the description. Okay, so we are now on pile 5. So hello everyone from pile 5. We have got three cards representing what your previous relationships have taught you and what you're sort of being held back by. And then we've got 3 cards representing your general readiness of heart, mind, and spirit. So we have pulled the 10 of Swords, the 2 of Wands reversed, where is she? The 6 of Swords, the 3 of Pentacles, the Tower, and the 8 of Pentacles. Okay, so we'll start with the 10 of Swords representing the love that you currently want. And I feel like this card is sort of saying that the love that you are looking for at the moment is one that can stand the test of time, one that can sort of stand up to negativity, one that can sort of power through any sort of setback that may come before it. I feel as though there is a lot of strength in this card and there's a lot of drive in this card to be accomplished sort of quite instantly. I feel like there's a lot of want in your relationships to be very strong and to be very stable, and to actually, I feel as though there's actually like this idea of wanting to work through problems as opposed to just sort of ending at the first sign of trouble. And I feel like that's something you really want from a relationship. And it feels as though you might want this because your previous relationships have not had this sense of strength. Your previous relationships, I feel, with being represented by the 2 of Wands as what they've taught you, the 2 of Wands representing your previous relationship sort of implies that your previous relationships haven't been willing or haven't had the patience to work from the beginning again. They haven't had the patience to start over at the sign of trouble, and they haven't had the patience to sort of, if there were quarrels or if there were arguments or if there were just general things that went wrong with the relationship, there was no willingness to work on them again. There was no willingness to get back what you have just lost, and there was no back and forth with you and your previous partners. There was almost sort of the sense of giving up at the first sign of trouble. So I feel like that's what your previous relationship experience has been, and so that's why your sort of strive is with the 10 of Swords here. So we then have the 6 of Swords as what is holding you back, and this kind of implies to me that you are sort of in your own way holding yourself back. You're very much focused on this previous relationship. I feel like this previous relationship has had quite a hold on you. Whatever you've recently just come out of and whatever you've recently just been through, I feel like that relationship still has quite a hold on you at the moment, and it's still weighing on your mind while you are trying to push forward with it. There's still this sort of setback in wanting to hold on to the past, and there's still this sort of setback of not quite being able to let go just yet. I feel like there might have been a lot of jealousy in this past relationship. Perhaps it sort of became unbalanced because of maybe this envious sort of energy that came from it, which is why you're finding it so hard to sort of let go and move on. Maybe you're sort of actually in a state of blaming yourself, perhaps, for thinking that you were the cause of this unbalance and envious energy. So we then move on to your general readiness, and we have got, as I said, heart, mind, and spirit. And it feels as though your heart is sort of saying that it's kind of getting itself together, but it needs you to collaborate with your mind and your spirit. I feel like there's perhaps a bit of a disconnection between the three of them at the moment, and they're not quite all on the same level, and they need to achieve this level of unity before you're actually able to move on. And while your heart might be ready, it's very much urging you to focus on these sides of yourself and to not give all your heart to something or to someone. You need to give your intelligence and your spirit to someone, but in a safe and in a secure way. So we then move on to the Tower, representing is your mind ready? And I feel like, as we said with the Six of Swords, your mind is still not quite there yet. I feel like your mind is currently going through its own process of chaos. Your mind is still going through this sort of process of actually trying to rebuild itself after this previous relationship and actually trying to collect itself together and come back stronger. So I feel like this is why your heart is kind of urging you to get your mind and your spirit together first, because you're sort of still holding on and you haven't quite found this sturdy base yet. You still need to find your comfort, and you still need to find just how you can deal with this and just how you can move on from this and how you can actually rebuild your strength first. So while this may feel like a very difficult time, it is going to be positive when you come out of it, because you will come out of it with a new perspective and a new way of approaching things and a new way of dealing with a relationship. So we then have, is your spirit ready? And we have got the Eight of Pentacles. Now, I feel like your spirit is saying that it's ready. I feel like your spirit is sort of willing to sort of be open to this sharing aspect of a new relationship. I feel like your spirit is sort of in its own way working with the heart to kind of imply that there needs to be this more communication with yourself. There needs to be this deeper communication with what's going on inward, so that you can actually be really sure of yourself to move forward and to get into something new. But on top of this, I feel like your spirit is ready to be shared again. I feel like when you find this relationship that you're looking for with the Ten of Swords, your spirit will actually be willing to make a deeper connection with the person that you find yourself connecting with, and you'll find yourself getting into a relationship with. So overall, looking at this this relationship, are you ready for love? I feel like there is this general sense of readiness, but there isn't this mental strength for readiness. I feel like there's a lot of implication of looking at your mental well-being before moving into anything new at the moment, and finding your own strength first. So that was my reading for pile 5. I hope you liked it. I've got all my links in the description below for Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. If you're watching this on Facebook, give it a share if you really liked it. And I've also got a link to my Patreon if you'd like to become a patron for only £5 a month for regular content and more content than you would normally get on my Facebook. Okay, so finally we are on pile 6, and we have got 3 cards representing your previous relationships and what is currently holding you back from getting into something new, and 3 cards representing your general readiness with heart, mind and spirit. So we have pulled Death, the King of Cups, the 3 of Wands reversed, the Ace of Pentacles reversed, the Page of Wands and the Page of Swords. Okay, so Death is looking at what you are looking for in love. And so I feel like this card may seem very inappropriate, but it feels like what you're looking for in love is a total sort of renewal of yourself. You're looking for a complete sort of fresh start, looking from the very beginning. You are very much looking for something that is completely brand new and completely rejuvenates you and completely gives you a new sense of self and a new sense of identity and a new sense of being. This is very much sort of linked with your own identity and your own individuality, and I feel like you want a relationship that's going to give you this sense and sort of show you the way and sort of disregard everything that has sort of happened previously and has sort of been through previously, and you're just sort of waiting for this to happen. What your previous relationships have taught you, we've got the King of Cups. Now, it feels like your previous relationships have taught you this level of patience and have taught you how to sort of deal with conflict, and they've given you this sort of time to work on yourself and create this meditative state in yourself. But I feel like with this sort of being the achievement, this is why you're looking for a relationship that's going to allow you to start again, because you feel like you've sort of reached the top, as it were. You feel like you've kind of reached the end and you just want to start again. You've matured to the state that you can be, and you just want to sort of be born again, and you sort of want to be a new person. You want to be a new person, but with this same level of experience. Okay, so for what is currently holding you back, we have got the 3 of Wands reversed. Now this kind of ties these last 2 cards together with sort of the uncertainty of wanting to have this knowledge but wanting to be born again, with this idea that what is currently holding you back is you're very unclear with yourself about what you're actually looking for. You sort of in yourself don't actually know if you're looking for something to completely be new with and completely rejuvenate yourself, or something that you want to take all this previous experience with you and carry on with you. You're being very unclear, and you're sort of ignoring sort of the signals that are being thrown your way for giving you a clearer path and giving you this growth. You're kind of ignoring those, and you're kind of just very much focused in, I want this, but I also want this. So you're not being certain with yourself. You're not giving yourself a clear heading. You're just sort of looking for something without really knowing what you're looking for. Okay, so then we have your general readiness with your heart as the Ace of Pentacles reversed, your mind with the Page of Wands, and your spirit with the Page of Swords. Now, your heart being ready, I feel like this is sort of saying no to me. I feel as though the Ace of Pentacles reverse, representing your heart being ready, is sort of telling you that you're sort of getting into too much at the moment. Your heart's sort of reaching capacity, and currently what you're getting into and what you're getting your heart into is not giving you feelings of wealth, feelings of value, feelings of worth. They're just, it's too much. You're not giving yourself an opportunity for a new start. You're not giving yourself an opportunity for a fresh sense of worth. You're just sort of getting into more than you're ready for, and you're sort of pushing yourself to your limits. Okay, so then we move on to the Page of Wands, representing is your mind ready? And I feel like this card is sort of saying that your mind is sort of just waiting for your heart to catch up with it. I feel like your mind is progressing a lot faster than your heart is, but your heart is sort of where your focus is more on at the moment. I feel like, as we were saying with having the unclear objectives with the Three of Wands reversed, your mind is sort of really trying to push forward to what you were looking for with the Death and the King of Cups, but it's sort of waiting for your heart to actually realize what it's doing at the moment, and to actually realize where it's trying to take you. And I feel like your heart, your mind and your spirit are sort of on the same sort of way of viewing things at the moment, and the same sort of way of dealing with things at the moment. With, they're both ready to mature. They're both ready to sort of look to the next thing and start the next journey, but your heart is sort of very stuck in not being able to give itself a fresh start. Your heart is very stuck in staying where it is and not unleashing this new journey, whereas your mind and your spirit are very much waiting. They're very much waiting on your heart to move on with them, whereas they're very much keen to sort of look to new objectives and look to the next thing, and to sort of work towards this relationship that you are sort of currently craving. So that was my reading for pile 6. I hope you liked it. I hope it gave you some kind of guidance. I hope it gave you something to think about. Got all my links in the description below if you want to join me on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. And I've also got a link to my Patreon. So for £5 a month, you can be a patron and get more content and more chances to receive readings.